Good morning. It is just about sun up here. You could see the striated clouds and how dark the storm clouds are. It has certainly been stormy here. I live just barely over the mountains from where all this horrible hurricane damage is in North Carolina. And we are all thankful here that it is nowhere near as bad here as it is just over the hills. Because only about maybe 50 miles from here is where the damage starts in North Carolina. I mean, it was pretty bad here, but nothing like what they got. So we're all very thankful that it was not as bad here. But that's what we're going to talk about today a little bit. We're going to talk about hurricane stuff, and then we're going to get into some politics stuff. The hurricane stuff, I am definitely canceling my camping trip. Because I hear that there's a second hurricane coming. God only knows what it's going to do. And with my camping trip coming up in a couple of weeks, I just don't think that it's wise to try to have it. Again, you guys already know, very few people said they were going to come anyway. So it's probably not a big deal that I'm canceling it. But I'm officially canceling it now because even if I had 15 people coming instead of maybe 3 or 4, I still don't want people traveling and coming here if there's going to be maybe active hurricane winds or more extensive flood damage than already happened. So camping trip is definitely canceled this year. Maybe next year we'll have better luck. We'll see. But regardless, I'll talk about that more on my upcoming streams, of course. So before we get directly into politics, we're going to talk some more about what the hurricane and the flooding damage is and how it affected. There's a vehicle coming. Give me a moment. It was just a work truck, so it's all good. Anyway, let's talk about this FEMA stuff and all the things that have been in the news the last few days. Yes, we know that FEMA money is misappropriated for anti-white reasons. We know this. We know that the government is against us. We know that all the anti-white people in the deep state and the anti-white international oligarchs and all these people, that they control the money and they push the money towards where they want it and they take the money away from where they don't want it. We already know this. So it's not a surprise to me, or probably any of you paying attention, that the rotten pieces of anti-white trash in the government don't want to give money to help the very people that they hate here in East Tennessee, North Carolina, Georgia, South Carolina, etc. They don't want to help us. They want us to starve and to die in a hurricane because they're already biologically erasing us with mass migration, and they're mentally and spiritually erasing us with all this anti-white, white erasure propaganda stuff, like telling our kids to grow up and be trans, or to be hypersexual, or to be homosexual, or to not have kids, to save the environment, or open your legs for immigrants, and just all this other poison that our people are taught to mentally and spiritually destroy us. So we know that these people who facilitate all of those things, we already know that they hate us. We already know that they want us gone, or to be shamed at least, and to be broken emasculated messes of what we used to be. We already know that. So it's not a surprise then that a bunch of these evil snakes are acting like that. It's just not a surprise to me. And so maybe it's just because I'm jaded and think that the vast majority of all the governments in the West are just corrupt anti-white scumbags now. But I have come to expect this kind of behavior from my government, and you probably have too. From the moment that things started getting really bad here, I just assumed we would have no government help at all, and if there was, it would be in name only just because they felt like they had to. And so far, that seems to be what we've got. Yes, there are FEMA presences that we can see throughout this area, but they aren't really doing much. I have seen and heard reports and seen videos like on Matt and Blonde's stream this week. They showed a video of a guy that was recording where FEMA helicopters flew in and blocked a local small airport that had thousands of pounds of emergency supplies to deliver. And FEMA just parked on the runway with like 20 helicopters just to block it, just to keep them from helping people. What does that tell you? What does that tell you? That tells you that people like me, we've been right for a long time. We've been right for a long time. Because if motivated, willful local people who want to help their own people suffer, and the government gets in the way and just puts the boot on the neck and says, no, Let your people suffer and starve. We're not going to intervene and kill them, but we're not going to let you help them. We're not going to let you find them where they're lost in the woods. We're just going to sit on you. We're going to cool you. Not let you fly, not let you be able to deliver those supplies, not let you and your 20 other pilot friends with helicopters and small planes. We're not going to let you look for survivors. We're just going to keep you blocked here at the airport. Those are some evil scumbags that did that. Never forget that if we win, their heads belong on crosses too. They belong on crosses, their heads belong on pikes. Forgive me, I misspoke, I'm angry. So, it's just really frustrating seeing evidence that I've been right for years about this shit, and that it's getting worse. And it's affecting me and my kinsmen here in Appalachia. It makes me mad. Now, again, I don't want to just be mad, but I am all the time anyway. I can't stop. But I do want to talk about something productive. I know that most of us don't believe we can vote our way out of this. I understand that, and I agree. But voting and politics can help. Now, we know that Trump ain't perfect, and he has some friends that we don't like. But the anti-establishment element of what the Trump MAGA shit represents can still be useful to us. And all of this bullshit that's happening with the hurricane, the hundreds of videos that I have skimmed on Twitter, surely there's got to be a lot more than that. So there's probably thousands if you count Facebook and Instagram and shit. This is fuel that we can use to show our local friends and family and church members and people we work with. We can show them evidence that the government and the systems in play are anti-white, that they hate us specifically. They put the boot on the neck specifically to hurt us. There's a vehicle coming, but I'm going to turn here, so it probably won't be that loud. And not that I think any election is above the power of rigging at this point, but the more people that can vote, that you can influence, you probably should. More than voting, though, I want everyone who cares to make as many people that they are connected to care and notice that there is an obvious anti-us energy at play in the government. And this disaster bullshit is a wonderful way to illustrate that and get people to notice and to care. And that's an opportunity that we shouldn't pass up. So I showed my mother some of these videos because Lord knows she ain't getting this stuff passively from NPR and just whatever the hell else she listens to in the car. So I told her to pay attention and to watch this stuff. And she has been the last few days, and she's like, wow, I can't believe that they're just doing that. And I'm like, yeah, I know. FEMA and those rotten local politicians in North Carolina saying that they were going to arrest private citizens who were trying to help look for people and take them emergency supplies. My mother was blown away by that. Maybe some of your kinfolk and friends will be blown away by that too. Show them just how evil and anti-white things have become. Show them. But they might need it. So, again, I'm talking about real politics. Activating people who are willing to organize, plan, fight, and die for something to make our life better, to make our race and our children have a better future. I do what I can here, but things are so good. It's really hard to get people motivated to do anything differently. So I try to encourage other people to. That's what teachers do, right? They say that teachers can't, and that's why they teach. Well, I guess that's where I'm at. I'm very thankful to have a wonderful, wonderful community and good family and friends who don't have a care in the world about white erasure or what Israel's up to or all this war machine shit that we talk about and government corruption. I am very thankful to be blessed and live in an area this good. I'm thankful for that every day. But it also hurts me because I want everyone around here to be aware of how precious this is and to do something to defend it and preserve it. And that is where I fail. That is where I fail. So I do my best to encourage others not to fail. Anyway, so that's what I have to say about politics and the FEMA stuff. Now, general politics I also want to talk about. Over here, we have some more construction going on, so I'm going to just pace back and forth this way. It's a beautiful morning. It's just overcast in every direction, so there's not really a lot of nice sky to show you. But we can look at the tree line here. See, it's mostly just overcast. It's real pretty. I like it like this. It's just not a lot to look at. Anyway, we'll wrap up today by saying, when it comes to politics in general, I think that we need to be ready for disappointment. If Donald Trump is not assassinated, if he's not in some other way incapacitated and unable to be president, and if there is rigging and manipulation and fortification and shit that leads to him just losing an election and not taking the White House, we have to be ready for that, which I think most of us are pretty prepared for. But we also need to be prepared if Trump does take the White House, because this is going to require more work from us than if he didn't. If he doesn't take the White House, then the white erasure, the evil, the damage, the destruction, the communism, etc. will get worse and people will notice. However, if Trump wins, things might start looking a lot better. And many people will want to go back to sleep and think, okay, Patriots in control, things are going to get fixed. We know that's not true. We need to be prepared for a Trump victory more than a Trump loss. Assuming Trump wins and takes the White House, there is no doubt going to be a lot of kerfuffle. There is no doubt going to be blowback. Assuming that Trump is going to follow through on anything that they said about draining the swamp. I'm still uncertain that will happen. Call me skeptical, we'll say. But let's say that that does start happening. It could very quickly lead to family strife, religious strife, people wanting to use that event as a launch point for civil strife in America along a lot of lines, racial lines, religious lines, political tribe lines. And you need to be ready for that. You need to be ready for an actual beginning of an American Civil War, if that happens. And I know that that's not a popular thing to say. And I know that Tim Pool's been prattling on about the Civil War for fucking years. But I do think that we are getting close to that point. Because if you look at the FEMA stuff that's happening right now, and you look at how the rhetoric has only amped up in the last 4 years. One side calls the other one pedophiles, satanic, communists. The other side calls us, what do they call us? Trans-genociders or trans-deniers. They call us Nazis and fascists. They call us white supremacists. And they say everything that we care about, whether it's responsibility or work ethic or anything, tradition, they call all of that white supremacy. They call it all, quote, whiteness, right? And they're radicalized to hate whiteness because they're fucking crazy gay race communist idiots. So we have this rhetoric that hasn't been toned down at all. It's only ramped up. And now you've got Cheeto Hitler that everybody has been afraid of for 4 years, or everyone's been made to be afraid of for 4 years, who is influenced by the other side. They are going to be ready for war. The question is, are you? Are you ready for this war? I kind of am, but I'm also kind of not, because nobody around here is. I mean, no, that's not true. No one in my personal friend and family network thinks that things are going to be this bad. There are people around here who do. I just don't know them personally. But I see them sometimes, especially down at the feed and gun store. I hear some very based talk down there. There's a vehicle coming, so I'm going to walk this way. So, my point is, we need to be ready, politically and culturally, for the fallout of a Donald Trump victory, more so than we need to be for a Donald Trump loss. Because I think that a Donald Trump victory is going to kick off some shit. And maybe in the future, assuming if we win and real history matters, perhaps the American Civil War will be drawn starting at Jan 7th. Starting in 2016 when Donald Trump first took the White House. Maybe it'll start even earlier than that. Maybe it'll start with 9/11 when the rotten American government and their rotten deep state Israeli agents killed thousands of their own people to create a authoritarian police state based on terrorism and fear of that. Who knows? That's a nice lady, I know. So who knows? But what I do know is things are going to get rough. Things are starting to get bad. And I've been saying for years, we are at the very beginning of the hard times of the cycle. And of course, I am referencing the, weak men create bad times create strong men create good times, blah. Well, we've been under the heel of weak men for a very, very long time. And I think that we are just now starting the actual hard times. People may think that the 80s or the 90s or the aughts or the teens were the hard times. Hard times ain't started yet, man. We're just now getting to it. Because people here in America, we've had it good for a very long time because of the war machine bloat, because of all of the Keynesian fake economy success of the mid-1900s, exploiting Europe. It's disgusting, by the way. I consider people in Europe to be my kinsmen too, in a more distant way. And I hate how my government has created a stranglehold over Europe with NATO and shit. It's evil, it's wrong. There's a very loud work truck coming. Give me just a second. Yep, it was a loud red truck going over there to the work site. But anyway, I've yammered on enough, I reckon. The evils of my government are going to definitely contribute to the hard times coming. It's going to be hard times, ladies and gentlemen. You need to do everything you can to be ready for it. And I don't mean build a bunker and save up food, although that ain't a bad idea. We are not going to weather this storm alone. We are only going to weather this storm together. And to have a real together, we need things. We need this. We need organization. We need hope. We need positive vision. We need a plan. But to have any of those things, we have to have a love and an identity bigger than individual. We have to cultivate connections, community, peoplehood, nationhood, race, etc. We have to start building around that, or we're not going to make it. This is why I support the Old Glory Club and the Go Free, the White Well-Being community that pushes the Go Free method. Because both of them are doing exactly what I think people should be doing. Organizing, planning, networking, all with a vision of unity and a shared positive identity. Caring about our people. Whether that means heritage Americans or white people the world over. We have to cultivate strength and identity that we are willing to organize and sacrifice over. I don't mean we need to be ready to go shoot people in the street. That's not what I'm saying. But the hard times require sacrifice. Those who are willing to make sacrifices for something bigger than them that they believe in, that's who will carry us through this storm and decide if we make it or not. You need to be like that. I'm like that. I want everyone to care and to be like that. To be willing to be a little uncomfortable. To be willing to say things that might get you in a little trouble. To network with other people. Maybe pay more for their goods just because they're one of us. Be willing to go without certain things to save or to buy or to invest in people or programs that are for us, by us. That's what we need to do. Alright, I've spoken enough. It's been, God only knows how long this video is going to be. Anyway, the sun's really pretty up here. It's a bright rose because of all the rain that we've had. So I'm going to walk up here on the hill. I'm going to wrap up with a pretty sunrise. See how nice that is? Look at that. Isn't that pretty? I sure do love living here. It's a gorgeous place. We'll just take a quick panorama. There we go. Well, I hope you guys all have a wonderful week. I'll see you Thursday night on for Empire of Lies on my channel, on my channels with Chris. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you next Monday. And just keep heart and do the best you can. God bless.